which party is better for men, Republicans or Democrats? You know what percent say Democrats? 10. Yeah, 10%. 10%. And he also told me that far and away, the biggest issue, the biggest negative on the Trump administration and the Republicans, and it's really big and it's bigger than everything else, is, drum roll please, cutting veterans.
Now, for our listener questions, I think they get better every week, James. Tommy in Marietta, Georgia, says, when it comes to reading political tell-all books, how do I know what I'm reading actually happened versus the authors cherry-picking information to put in their books to further a narrative they want to tell?
Well, I mean, I think more often than not. I mean, I don't think of many. Some are incomplete, perhaps. Some may emphasize the wrong thing, but I think most of these books that come out, are, to the extent that the author can, that her or his point of view, I don't think they make things up. Okay, that very much.
Yeah.
But I think everybody's talking about the Jake Taffer book. I think for the most part, everybody knew the story.
Right. I think all three of those books, James, you're right.
Yeah, the other books that came out. I mean, we pretty much, look, we know what happened. Okay, he was slipping, and he wanted to run for election, and people didn't want to deal with it. And you know that, you know everything.
Yeah, no, I agree. Jennifer in Ventura, California, says, why don't we have age limits on senators, representatives, judges, and presidents? We have minimum age requirements. You know, Jennifer, despite the stories of Biden and the sad stories of Dianne Feinstein, and now I watch 90-year-old Chuck Grassley as the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, I'm against age limits. If we tell the story well, and we haven't done it sufficiently, certainly in the case with Biden, it's up to the voters. I'm not for term limits and I'm not for age limits, but I am also for younger candidates by and large.
I agree, but I do think. But one of what the youth movement, and okay, I understand that, and people getting frustrated, and but most 90% of this goes on in plus 20 or more D districts or areas, and I just want to be very careful that we make the distinction between primary and running in primaries or running in general elections, and look, the voters, with Joe Biden, 80% thought he was too old to run. The term limit was right in every goddamn poll right in front of your face.
Right, absolutely.
And the Democrats were just stupid to not pay attention to that. And the problem was the voters were trying to tell us something, and we didn't want to hear it, so we chose not to listen. But I understand the question, but now there's less need for it than ever because age is becoming a dominant talking point. And I'm going to say this very clearly. The Trump people are going to live to regret the focus on age and cognition. Watch the next 3 years.
You absolutely nailed that, James. Smith in Portland, Oregon says to you, Democratic messaging might have taken down Doge, but it seems to be fragmenting quickly. What is the next rallying issue? Medicaid? And if so, are the likes of Chicago and California undermining their case?
This is very, very important. First of all, thank you for your question. Democratic messaging had nothing to do with bringing Doge down. Doge brought Doge down.
Right.
It was an idiotic, stupid, jackass thing. But by the way, the effects of it are living with us forever. Democratic messaging. A political party really does not have a real message without a presidential candidate. You could say that the Republicans did in 94 with the contract for America or whatever. But so this is very important. So I ran into Della Volpe. I'm here at a conference in Los Angeles. John Della Volpe, frequent guest of the show, good friend of the shows. He polls the youth vote at the Harvard Youth Project, which is the gold standard of all youth polls. among 30, do you know when it says which party is better for men, Republicans or Democrats? You know what percent say Democrats? 10. Yeah, 10%. 10%. And he also told me that far and away, the biggest issue, the biggest negative on the Trump administration and the Republicans, and it's really big and it's bigger than everything else, is, drum roll please, cutting veterans. And telling you, I was with Gerstein yesterday saying, we need to put in every poll, what should the following concerns you the most? And the deficit increasing $4 trillion, kicking 8.5 million people off health insurance, shutting, damaging such essential service, the weather service, or cutting veterans benefits by 40%. The veteran shit just explodes out there because it says everything about who you are and what you are as a party.
Yeah.
And I found that I didn't find it surprising, but I always thought it was a big issue. But he said it just blows everything else away, and I think it's an important piece of intelligence that Democratic messaging should do. And I'm gonna show. I'm out here at this conference in California, and I'm beat it like a drum. And I mean, there's some sense of people say, well, you're a veteran. So he said, first of all, 2 years Marine Corps, I mean, veterans benefits, anything like that. And fire watch ribbon in the toilet seat and all the chesty puller. But the point is, there's this contract that a country has with its veterans. That is, you come in here, hey, look, we're not going to pay you very much. You got, a sailor on an aircraft carrier works 84 hours a week. Did you hear me? 84 hours a fucking week. And that person, when they're in the Navy, if they get hurt, we take care of them. They retire, they get sick, as we well should. That's a contract we made with them. And people understand that at a gut level.
Yeah. I'm going to pick up a little bit on that in a slightly different way because Chris in Franklin, Tennessee asked, where's the Democratic leadership? We hear nothing from them. The movement to dictatorship is real. I hear those complaints a lot. I think last week that the House Democrats, Hakeem Jeffries and the Democrats, actually did a perfect job, if you will, of playing the role of the minority party and messaging. Number one, they made the Republicans work like hell to get their bill through. They wouldn't let them sneak it through. They had to have a 1 o'clock in the morning Rules Committee meeting. And number two, they raised the issue throughout the week about basically cutting taxes for the rich in order and paying for it by cutting Medicaid benefits for working class Americans. So I hear the criticisms, but I think what that Republican bill did last week is as good an issue as the Democrats are going to have, and I think they did a good job. Whether that continues or not, we'll see. But on this one, 3 cheers for Hakeem Jeffries and company.
Well, thank you, my friend from Franklin. For those of you who may not be up to snuff on Civil War history, it was a site of a rout where Sherman sent General Thomas up to follow John Bell Hood, and John Bell Hood did not do very well at Franklin. Look, the question from my friend in Franklin, for any Democrat, are we trying to win the summer? Are we trying to win the election? All right? And when you're in an election cycle, every day is a fight. Right now, we have no power. They're passing stuff. We're doing a pretty good job of making it difficult for them, where people are getting to see this. We got to put a lot of sunshine on what they're trying to do, and got to make it very difficult for them to do it. I agree with you. Right now is, the time to that they're going walking right into traps. Get your messaging down, get your timing down, know your votes, know your calendar. They got some terrible votes ahead of them.
Right.
I mean, really bad. And make
James,
them walk the plank.
You are right. And don't get distracted. Stay on this. Stay on this. Stay on it. Stay on it.
You're not trying to win the summer.
Right.
You're trying to win the election. And that's part of it. I understand. A natural inclination is let's fight them now. Let's go fight them in the valleys and fight them on the beaches and fight them in the mountains and fight them on the prairies and fight them right now. Fight, 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 fight. No, be smart. And when it's time to really fight, really fight. But
Right.
just you're identifying them and you're identifying yourself now.
Okay, James, this was for you. Nessa in Fairfax, Virginia. I
All
love
right.
some of our governors, but Rahm has humor and has a degree of distance from Biden Harris without having to do much. Is he the best candidate, or should we be up front? I'm not sure our party would elect a Jew.
Well, first of all, I think our party would. It doesn't matter because we nominated a Jewish vice president in 2000, and I don't think it cost us 2,000 votes.
I agree.
So that's kind of beyond.
Have a Jew as a governor of North Carolina and senator from Georgia.
Yeah, I just don't. I understand why people think that. I could certainly understand why if I were my age and I was Jewish, I'd certainly have that thing. But I just don't think it's that big a deal. I could be wrong. And and they keep saying, "Well, can we elect a woman president?" Doesn't matter because we're going to keep nominating women, and we should. Right? I don't want any choice in that. But if you nominate good people that can really communicate, it really makes a difference. And boy, we're gonna see this coming up.
Yeah, no, I agree. Mike in Brawley, California says, is Trump required to pay for this Qatari plane and all the security upgrades? If not, where does the money come from for the upgrades? Mike, it comes from you. It comes from you, the taxpayers. And it's going to cost a hell of a lot more than $400 million, not to mention the incredible ethical transgression here. But of course, that's par for the course. But don't think for a second that this is a free gift. It's going to cost Mike in Brawley, California, and James in New Orleans and Albert in Washington. We're paying for it, baby.
That's not going. Even though they're soon to do it and have to redo all the while because of the stuff, they're going to slow walk that redo so much. The thing will be ready to the next century.
Absolutely, absolutely, James. I guess it's Emily, and I think it's Emily from Marshall, Texas. What are the 5 concrete actions that a retired, fixed income, not politically savvy, furious person from Texas can do to make sure this synod of sycophants gets voted out of beginning in 2026? Yay, Emily.
Yeah, I know where Marshall is. It's not very far from Shreveport in East Texas. First of all, and I understand it. You got to try to keep your sanity. And I know if you live in Marshall, there's not a lot of like-minded people as used to, but probably more than you think, and you're probably a little bit of a growing amount. Stay informed, follow things. Right when you like something, send a candidate, send an office holder a note. They'll believe me, enough of those. They'll pay attention to it. If you got a little extra change, maybe you might send a check to a worthy candidate here or there somewhere. Try to do it in really competitive districts. And I think as citizens, someone living in Marshall, Texas, I could make somewhat of a difference, but it requires you to be up to date and follow things and do what you can. Good luck, sister.